Hi everyone, I'm Haydn Mackay, Sales Director for the North America West Enterprise team, and today I'm going to share 10 reasons why we don't proactively sell Starter. GitLab Starter, or Bronze on GitLab.com, was designed to provide smaller development organizations, up to say 250 users, with the minimum feature set required to provide a common development platform across a company. It comes with a very basic insurance policy against downtime in the form of next business day support, some access controls such as the ability to synchronize GitLab groups to your company's corporate directory like LDAP, a few quality and policy gates such as push rules and merge approvals, and some extra audit and security features above GitLab core such as the ability to block secrets from being pushed to a repository and release audit events. This basic feature set will definitely not meet the needs of a larger development organization who have stricter audit and compliance obligations, need better insights and metrics into their value stream, and more advanced automation. Starter also doesn't align well with our sales motion of landing with vision, which implies a new customer intends to consolidate a smorgasbord of point solutions in favor of GitLab's single application for the entire DevOps lifecycle so they can realize our three value drivers: delivering better products faster, increasing operational efficiencies, and reducing security and compliance risks. So let's drill down into some of the reasons not to sell Starter. Limited capabilities beyond SCM. While SCM may have been the initial use case and entry point, end users start discovering the breadth of GitLab and begin trying features that support other stages of the lifecycle, such as plan and verify, but quickly realize they lack functionality. And then two things can happen. Their perception of GitLab becomes a jack of all trades but master of none, and they stop exploring other parts of the product. Or they just want to purchase one or two features in a higher tier. For example, a Starter customer in the retail sector with 2,500 users had some very mature DevOps teams who wanted more advanced deployment functionality, such as deploy ports and canary deploys, which only exist in premium. However, they balked at the cost to upgrade their subscription. Both of these outcomes aren't ideal for GitLab and forces an upsell into a commodity conversation. Next business day support. Systems of record such as a version control system like Git are mission critical for an organization and are often classified as a tier 1 application because many of their highest paid talent depend on it daily to work with the company's IP. If the system is slow or down, productivity of those knowledge workers is dramatically reduced and sometimes stops altogether. The next business day SLA that comes with Starter doesn't align to mission critical status and therefore increases risk to the customer of not being able to deliver value to their customers on time. There's been numerous times that Starter customers' GitLab services become impaired or down altogether and have had to wait up to 24 hours for a support engineer to troubleshoot. The economic impact of having hundreds or thousands of highly paid knowledge workers twiddling their thumbs while their GitLab service is brought back online can be measured in the millions of dollars. The retail customer I just mentioned had this happen 3 times over the course of a year, and each time GitLab provided emergency support as a gesture of goodwill. But the third time put us both in a very awkward position and something we want to avoid with future customers. Live upgrade assistance. The ability to schedule a support engineer to help with a live upgrade does not exist in Starter, which tends to limit the frequency of upgrades. And since GitLab releases new features, bug fixes, and security patches every month, customers who don't stay up to date not only miss out on developer productivity enhancements, but also performance and security improvements. Both lead to a poor developer experience and increased security risk. I remember discovering a few years ago that one of our largest and most important customers was almost a year behind our latest release because they didn't have the admin resources or confidence to upgrade GitLab on a regular basis. This led to many of their users complaining about poor performance and not having access to some of the cool features they read about in our release posts. Enterprise readiness. In the same way next business day support and live upgrade assistance can reduce developer productivity and their experience, so do things like disaster recovery, geographic replication, and high availability, which are also not available in Starter, but are very critical enterprise features. Customers with thousands of users put a heavy load on services like Git, which can slow the system down if it's not configured in a highly available environment. The strategic customer I mentioned earlier supported almost 10,000 users on a single virtual machine, which meant that basic Git commands like git push, git status, and git clone were extremely slow, which frustrated their end users and lowered their productivity. Unfortunately, the sentiment became GitLab isn't fast. But in reality, it was the underlying infrastructure it was running on that was to blame, not GitLab itself. Similarly, the same customer also had a large development center in Bangalore, India, but without a local replica of their Git repositories. That meant developers were cloning and fetching across the ocean to headquarters in California. To clone a large repository with a lot of branches can take upwards of an hour, which dramatically reduces productivity. And without leveraging our replication technology to create a warm standby instance, it can take hours for GitLab admins to restore the GitLab service after a disastrous event like an earthquake that cuts off power supply. I can think of two real examples where this happened to a couple of very large tech companies in Silicon Valley prior to using GitLab. One where a plane crash took out power lines that supplied their data center running the company's version control system, and another where flooding in an underground car park shorted the power supply to a data center running their version control system. In both cases, there was no disaster recovery solution in place, and each lost millions in developer productivity. Epic's roadmaps and templates. When project teams get exposed to GitLab's issue tracker and how much more streamlined it makes things, they realize Starter doesn't support epics and roadmaps, which makes working with issues much easier. Likewise, group and project file templates make it easier to propagate consistency across the organization. So it's important we disposition Starter because we know once teams begin using more stages, they'll want more features in a higher tier. Limited CI capabilities. One of our most used defensible differentiators is leading SCM and CI in one application, but the CI capabilities that give us that differentiator go beyond Starter. Customers who purchase Starter will challenge that statement and point out deficiencies such as merge trains and multi-project pipeline graphs. A large healthcare company supporting thousands of users on Starter weren't able to deprecate Jenkins because of missing functionality, and their more mature teams got frustrated having to stick with Jenkins until they could justify an upgrade. CI for external repositories. Similar to the previous reason not to sell Starter, if the initial use case or entry point was CI, and the customer needs to pull source from other Git repositories like Bitbucket and GitHub while they consolidate their SCMs, then they will be disappointed to learn that Starter doesn't support it. Only Premium and Ultimate allow a customer to leverage GitLab CI for building and testing source code from other repositories outside GitLab. Limited audit and compliance capabilities. Another common defensible differentiator, especially for highly regulated industries like healthcare and financial services, is built-in security and compliance. Again, Starter doesn't fully support this differentiator since many of the audit and compliance capabilities, such as merge request approval rules, audit logs, auditor users, verified committers, protected environments, project dependencies list, and the compliance dashboard. End-to-end insights. This reason not to sell Starter aligns to the differentiator of end-to-end insight and visibility. The feature set to fully support this differentiator really requires Ultimate, since Ultimate has issue and epic health reporting, insights, embedded metrics, and portfolio management. Without these capabilities, it's very difficult for engineering and business leaders to extract the information needed to make informed decisions. Application security. Business executives are more inclined to allocate discretionary funds to avoid a loss than achieve a gain, which is why our value driver of reduced security compliance risk is an important one, and also aligns to the built-in security and compliance defensible differentiator. The required capabilities that fully support this differentiator do not exist in Starter. They include static and dynamic application security testing, container scanning, open source license compliance, vulnerability management, and the security dashboard. Another thing to point out as a bonus, I guess, is the fact that most of our newer features are targeted towards premium and ultimate tiers. So there you have it, 10 reasons not to be selling Starter.